Hello, this is Socially Triggered, and this video is going to be on the dangers of fake news. Recently, there was the Jacob Blake story that aired on the news. And the story that I heard, I was listening to the news in my car, and I always listen to the local news channel. And they were they were explaining how this Jacob Blake guy was, going to help stop this fight from breaking out, and that this good man was then attacked by police, and they struggled, and he his car to get away from the police. And when he tried to go to his car, he had his back turned to the police, and the police shot. They just shot him because they are murderous, and they just wanted to kill him. Fortunately, he survived, and that's the story that I heard on the news. This is the story. Now, that is not what actually happened. So, what really happened was the police were called in on a domestic dispute. Okay, that means that usually, there's some fight happening either between the man and woman, or whatever, something's happening, and the police are called to break that up. And when they got there, they saw that Jacob Blake was the one that was the instigator of this domestic dispute. And to make things worse, they checked his history, and they saw that he had a history of fighting with police and doing a bunch of other crimes. He was a felon, and that made them on guard. Now, when they originally approached him and tried to get him to cooperate and stop, they actually used a taser. Now, the taser did not work. Generally, when a taser doesn't work, it's when somebody is on drugs. Usually, they're under some influence that makes the taser just not function the way it would normally function. I've heard of people being on PCP where often they'll just flinch off the taser as if it was nothing when it would normally knock you out. So probably he was on something or other, but that's not confirmed yet. That's just my speculation. So until the real facts come out, you know, that's my speculation. Um, the other thing is, there's clips where they show that he had a knife, and that he actually attacked the police first. So the unarmed whole portion of the narrative is false. The whole narrative of him being some innocent guy that was actually there as a good Samaritan trying to break up a fight is false. Uh, Now, beyond that, the the idea is he walked to his car. So a couple things could have been happening there. One is he was trying to flee the scene by getting into his car and then driving off. Two, he was getting into his car to get a gun, and that's possible. Either one is possible. Uh, Either one, even him just going to the car. If third possibility is him just going to the car and wanting to sit in his car. I don't know, like just innocently wanting to sit in his car. That's a possibility too. However, him going to the car is a crime. He is resisting arrest. He's not being cooperative with the police. The point is, what he should be doing is stopping. When the police say stop, you stop. You don't go somewhere, because you're only asking to be shot. Because if you do something suspicious, well, the cops are going to shoot you. That's just the way the cops work. They want to protect their own lives as well as the lives of the people around. Because if you're going to your car and potentially getting a gun, well, not only are their lives at risk, but people in the neighborhood's lives are at risk too, because bullets can fly off and kill somebody. And we hear stories about that happening, where people, innocent bystanders, get killed by these criminals who don't have any respect for life. So the police are there to serve and protect. They're not there to serve and protect those people who go out of their way to try to cause harm. They are there to protect us, the citizens, from those people. Okay, so this man was, you know, not following the rules. He was doing something that was putting other people at risk. He had a weapon, and he was doing something which warranted him getting shot. So the police really were doing their jobs in protecting the people. Now, what do we have happen? The narrative, and the narrative is continuing on in the media. They love to do this crazy fake news stuff. Uh, what it does is it gets this all the people riled up. Cop shooting a guy in the back. Poor black men getting shot down by evil cops. And that's the narrative that gets promoted. Well, what happens is you have protests and riots and protests that are really riots. Peaceful protest really means riots nowadays. Um, and those lead to people getting killed, injured, businesses being burned down, cars being destroyed. It's a serious situation. And this is all over a thug. Jacob Blake is a thug, and he deserves no attention. He doesn't deserve all this media circus. He should be forgotten about and moved on, and probably arrested for his crimes. But what do we get? We get another black hero. I mean, this is what kind of hero is this person? He is a thug. He's just not a good person. I just feel sorry for the black community that they get the bad narrative pushed upon them over and over again, and they are forced to they're encouraged to do stupid things. I'd be embarrassed if I was black. I'd be truly embarrassed. Um, so this is the danger of false narratives. It's danger of the fake news. And I'm thinking about what happened with the Covington schoolboys, who were, originally the media had, made them the story that all of these evil white boys, these evil Trump supporter boys, were basically harassing this poor little Native American man. And that was the narrative that they kind of promoted. And eventually the truth came out, and it was the complete opposite, that the Native American man was actually harassing the boys. And they didn't retract anything. They didn't really apologize, but that narrative stuck for a long time. But the boys sued. And I think that was a great thing, because they sued, and the many of these major channels had to settle. And I'm not sure how much money the boys got in the end, but they probably got a good amount. I think they were suing for like 200 million. Now, what I want, this is my plan, this is how I can solve all these riots and all these problems that are happening in American society, is what I want is the towns, the police chiefs, and the police themselves, and the towns and so forth, to sue the media, to say, hey, look, you are causing these riots by instigating. One of the things, I'm a big advocate of free speech. But free speech does not mean that you can go yell fire in a crowded room and people freak out, and that causes havoc and people can die from that. You have to have some rules about speech, because when you instigate, that's not really free speech. That's instigation, where you're actually causing harm, and that's what the media is doing. And there should be there should be repercussions for that. I can't even say the word correctly. Repercussions. Thank you, world. Repercussions for that. And that is something that's essential. We have to make the media accountable for their actions. They are being deliberate in riling up people and basically causing the riots, because these people are acting very emotionally, and they will burn things, they will destroy things, and people will die. And the ones that are really instigating this violence are the media, who hype it up, and they also apologize for it. So not only do they encourage the bad behavior in the first place, but they encourage it to continue because there's no repercussions for those people who are involved with the crimes. So when, like, if you tell people it's okay to riot, it's okay to steal stuff, it's okay to loot, well, then those people will continue to do so because they're being told that it's okay. So not only do they encourage the riot in the first place, but they're apologizing for those people as well. They'll call the riots peaceful protests. And that's another lie that they promote. So not only, so the media is totally responsible for the destruction that they've caused. And I believe that the media should be accountable, that the towns should sue, the police should sue. Any of these police officers that were involved and basically charged falsely based on the media narrative kind of destroying their lives. Like I look at Derek Chauvin, um, and I'm one of the few people that originally spoke about his case, saying that there is no case, that he is probably innocent. He followed the guidelines. He did what he could to protect the life of George Floyd, and he did everything he should. um, and his knee was not on the neck of George Floyd. It was like in a bracing action. So, for example, if you think of this as being his knee, and this is George Floyd's neck, okay, he's like this. But look, my weight is not down. It's, see, the head can move around. That's what the situation was. So it looks like the knee's on the neck, but really the head can move around. And the knee just acts as a stop for how high the head can lift up. So the head can move down and up around. If you watch the video, you can actually see that Floyd can move his head up and down, but only up to that point. And the reason they do that move, it's just a block. It's not like a proper like choke or like a neck choke or a blood choke. They do it so that they can control the person, so that they're not going to get up and run away. So it basically is a way of protecting the person from, you know, being harmed to themselves or other people. And most of the way is actually on the back. The other knee is actually on the back. So that's what Derek Chauvin did. He basically controlled the heads from moving around, but put the weight on the back to really keep George Floyd pinned to the ground. And in the video, we actually can see that in the police cam video, we can actually see that George Floyd was the one that went to the ground. He was the one that asked to go to the ground. And the whole time he was able to speak and he was able to, he was whining and stuff and he was having problems. And he was even having problems before he went to the ground where he was complaining about breathing issues, and it was probably because of the drugs in his system that he took too many drugs before before the police were even there, and that caused a lot of the problems that he was experiencing. And the toxicology report shows that that George Floyd probably died of overdose. So the problem was the police, their lives got destroyed. Derek Chauvin is now being charged for murder, and he lost his wife, he lost his career, he lost everything, all because of the false narrative. And the false narrative continues, is my point. Like the media never learns from any of this. They just go on to the next story. False narrative after false narrative. And every time it's proven false, they don't apologize. They might put a line saying, oh, maybe this was not correct at the very bottom of some article that they publish, but they never apologize for what they did. They never, there's no, there's no repercussions for them. Man, I have to use that word a lot. So today's Socially Triggered is brought to you by the word repercussions, which I can't pronounce properly. It's so sad that this happens, that the media can just keep on doing this. We have to make them accountable. We have to make them take responsibility for the actions that they're doing. The media is destroying our world through these kind of false narratives. And we have to fight back. We have to sue them. We have to have legal action against the media. And I think if we do that, and all of a sudden the media is more careful about the way it reports and the information that it conveys, the fact that it's not going to start doing these false narratives anymore, then maybe we have a hope of solving all this racial tension that's existing in the United States. Because a lot of that racial tension is really just fueled by the false narrative that the media promotes. Things are not that bad. They don't have to be that bad. It's really this false narrative that's promoting the idea that things are bad. So this has been Socially Triggered. I hope you enjoyed this video. There was no repercussions for watching this video. And yeah, please give me your feedback. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my other videos. I have some pretty good stuff, where I pronounce words correctly. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Bye.